Elon Musk, who recently found success by launching a Tesla into outer space, has announced that he's teamed up with NASA to create a plan for potentially transporting humans to Mars. The two companies will reportedly be working together to find ways to get people to and from Mars safely. The goal is to establish a colony on Mars within 20 years. So in this video, we're going to talk about Elon Musk just revealed NASA's terrifying discovery on Mars. The video is going to be amazing, so make sure you stick to the end. NASA's Curiosity rover landed on Mars on August 6, 2012, and since then has roamed Gale Crater, taking samples and sending the results back home for researchers to interpret. NASA has found an abundance of organic carbon in Martian rocks. This discovery was made by NASA's Curiosity rover after it drilled samples from 3.5 billion-year-old mudstone rocks in the Yellowknife Bay formation of the Gale Crater. The Gale Crater was a part of an ancient lake on Mars. These mudstone rocks were formed as fine sediment settled on the bottom of a lake and was buried. There were fragments of organic carbon found among the sediment, and they became a part of these rocks. The researchers were surprised to find enriched amounts of the isotope carbon-12 in these samples and depleted amounts of carbon-13. Samples from the red planet's atmosphere and from Martian meteorites that have struck Earth do not have these same amounts of carbon. Carbon-12 and carbon-13 are two stable isotopes of carbon. Lead author, Professor Christopher House of Penn State University in the US said, "The samples extremely depleted in carbon-13 are a little like samples from Australia taken from sediment that was 2.7 billion years old. Those samples were caused by biological activity when methane was consumed by ancient microbial mats. But we can't necessarily say that on Mars because it's a planet that may have formed out of different materials and processes than Earth." Before we move on, support us by hitting subscribe and the bell icon to get notified when we post new videos. Now, let's get back to our topic. The carbon cycle is how carbon atoms travel from the atmosphere to life forms, to rocks and soil, and back again. On Mars, the new study shows that samples had enriched carbon-12 and depleted carbon-13. House explained, "The samples that are extremely depleted in carbon-13 are a little like samples from Australia, taken from sediment that was 2.7 billion years old. These samples were caused by biological activity when methane was consumed by ancient microbial mats, but we can't necessarily say that is the case on Mars because it's a planet that may have formed out of different materials and processes than Earth. The samples enriched with carbon-12 are a tantalizing finding because living creatures on Earth use carbon-12 to metabolize food and for photosynthesis. The samples were analyzed using the Tunnable Laser Spectrometer, or TLS, and Sample Analysis at Mars, SAM instruments. But the detection doesn't directly point to any ancient life on Mars. Curiosity collected 24 samples from 5 geologically diverse regions in the area of the Gale Crater, which was then heated in SAM's ovens to approximately 850 degrees Celsius, or 1,562 degrees Fahrenheit. This released gases inside the samples, allowing the TLS to measure the carbon isotopes present in the samples. Half of the samples were found to contain a large amount of carbon-12 isotope. So how do scientists account for the amounts of carbon in the samples? The researchers have 3 possible scenarios: cosmic dust, ultraviolet degradation of carbon dioxide, or ultraviolet degradation of biologically produced methane. The cosmic dust argument is plausible, though evidence for it is lacking. Every 100 million years or so, our solar system passes through a molecular cloud that can deposit dust on the planets. But then it should be found on Earth as well, and Earth has hardly any evidence of this dust. Glaciers are also required for that argument to work on Mars, and so far there's limited evidence of past glaciers in the Gale Crater. The theory of ultraviolet degradation of carbon dioxide is one that some papers have predicted, but scientists lack enough evidence to rule this one in or out. Lastly, we have the biological explanation. Depleted samples of carbon-13 on Earth are a signal of ancient bacteria that consume microbially produced methane. These would follow the carbon cycle and return to the rocks where they were found. But as of now, there has been no discovery of bacteria or microbes on the surface of Mars. So that's it. Please like, share, and comment your thoughts below if you like this video. Remember to subscribe to see our next video. Stay safe, and we'll be back soon with another video.